Welcome. It's your boy, Coffee Man Rand, and we're back with another installment of But Not Before My Coffee. If you're a returning viewer of the channel, welcome back. We missed you. If you're new to the channel, this is a channel where we talk about life and coping with it, mixed with your morning pick-me-up, some coffee. So, like I told you last week, we're continuing our series on planning content and how we plan out our month. Because last week was regarding your entire year as an overview. This week is going to be your month and a little bit of how to plan out your week. It's going to be a combination. So walk with me as we do this. All right. So to start, I used to be a very traditional planner type of person in terms of how I planned out my month and my week. But over time, in particular, really the last year and a half, I got to the point of using notebooks to do my monthly and weekly planning. So traditionally, I would use a planner. And traditionally, it would look more so like this. So traditionally, you would see a week mapped out in colors all the way through, every single day, Monday through Friday, scratch marks, etc. And then eventually, we moved on to a notebook. And the notebook was a little more important. It was more concrete, structurally organized. It made more sense for me. And I might even actually return to using a planner this year. I'm not 100% certain, or I haven't fully decided on that's what I want to do. But I'm going to show you my normal techniques of how I do it. There are several options for how you can plan out your month. You can be very high level and plan it out quarter by quarter. So January, February, March, we want to tackle these things. April, May, June, we want to tackle these things, so on and so forth. Or you can be very granular and you tackle week by week. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I want these things to occur. I go to the gym these days. I'll work on videos these days. I'll do content these days. This day is my rest day. You can be that granular with it. Or option 3, it can be a combination of the two, which is what I tend to do. I'll plan out month by month and quarter by quarter for high level ideas, and then bring those high level ideas into smaller pieces on the week by week case. There are days that are dedicated to recording content. There are days dedicated to going to the gym because Rain Man got to get rid of this dad bod. It's starting to form, and I don't even got a kid. I don't even have a fur baby. But yeah, you get dedicated points and times that are associated with the higher level options on the quarter by quarter basis. That's my thought process, my method. You can use a bit of both, or you can use one or the other, whichever one works better for you. This is your planning journey, and it has to suit your needs. Now that you selected your approach, let's go ahead and walk through how we are going to physically plan out each month. We're going to do a month, and I'm going to put some notes at the top for some quarterly ideas for how I normally do my quarters. So for starters, I always plot out each day of the week that I have a task that is never changing. So Sunday through Saturday, there is something dedicated to each day that will happen every single day, every single week. So starting with Sunday. Sunday for me is the day that I actually plan out what I'm going to do for the whole entire week. So plan out your Sunday planning session. That's number 1. Moving into Monday. Monday is gym day. In addition to it being gym day, it is also script planning day for my content. It's the day that I plan out what I'm going to say for these videos, because I'm not about to go in here and raw dog a video. That is how you end up spending an hour on content and having to redo it. Moving into Tuesday. Tuesday is a client work day. So any projects that I have that are for my video or photography clients, or any other people that I do edits for, because I also edit outside of my YouTube channel. I edit for other people as well. That is dedicated on Tuesday. And if I don't have any client work, which sometimes happens, but a lot of the time doesn't happen, that is a film related day for me to catch up on things that I want to do film wise. I usually do this on the weekend randomly. I don't write it down because of the fact that it's going to naturally occur. It's not something I have to tell myself to do or train myself to do. It's a habit that's already built. So it doesn't go on the paper anywhere. All right, going into Wednesday. Wednesday is another gym day because we got to be consistent. We're trying to do better. In addition to Wednesday being a gym day, there's also a content shooting day. It's content shooting day number 1. It will happen every single week. Drag that line down. As you see, those lines are on every single week because that's consistent. They're constants. Moving to Thursday. Thursday is another gym day, and it is the last gym day of the week guaranteed, unless I choose to do more gym work, which sometimes happens and a lot of time doesn't. And it is also the last content shooting day and an editing day if I don't need to shoot any additional content. All right. Friday is a rest day because I'm trying to do better at self-care. That was on the board last week. Guaranteed rest day. In addition to cleanup day, either that's cleaning up the house, cleaning up my life, or cleaning up some content. I might need to finish doing some editing from Thursday that I didn't get to do, so I finish it on Friday. And then we route out the week on Saturday with that as the content posting and scheduling day. So usually I will finish all of my content by Saturday, schedule it to post on the days that I wanted to post, and we move on into the thought process of the next set of content. Also, because I'm starting to study for my licensure exam for work, it is also the day that I choose to do my study sessions for my exam. So boom, that is the first wave of things that you do for planning out your month. You plan out what you're going to do every single week as a constant. Round 2 of planning out your month. You plan out the things that are very day specific. Those are, for me, chapter meetings that I have for my Greek sessions, as well as my therapy sessions and the days that I have shoots or meetings. Those get planned out specifically on the calendar to make sure I remember. You got to go to therapy. You got a chapter meeting if you can make it. And you have a shoot day. Make sure those are written down. Also, any other social events you have. There was a birthday party last week, so I had to make sure I wrote that down. Yeah. Lastly, we have the major piece that I put at the top to round out the quarter. Every quarter is a guaranteed set of action items that I have to tackle in order to make this quarter an achievable and successful quarter. For this quarter, it is my film needs, my business needs, studying for this exam because I plan on taking it next quarter, and content creation to make it a habit. I want to get better at being consistent about making my content so they can go out in a timely fashion. So now that we got this out the way, let's move into doing the weekly content, because these two are paired together. If you can get one done, the other one comes seamlessly, and they kind of are a perfect couple. You don't want to do one without the other. So moving into weekly content. Now, for the fun part for me, which is the part that I do very consistently and I check through on a regular basis, is planning out your week. I know you might be thinking, why are we not doing that next week? I feel like these two go hand in hand, and if you can't make them coincide, it becomes a bit of an issue. So I thought it would be better to put month and week in the same video. So moving from this, we're going to move into planning out your week. And instead of going through and showing you what I did for this week, because it's a little bit messy, and it would require a little bit extra editing to show you what I did for this week, I'm going to show you what I did for a couple weeks back that to me is the core version of how I actually plan out my week. So with planning out your week, I usually take the following things into account. So at the top, you can see it says week of 7/19/24. Step 1 for me is think about what you did last week. If you're an avid planner like myself, go ahead and review last week's initiatives and see where you're sitting. Are there anything that's missing from last week that need to be tackled this week? So on 7/19/24's week, I had some couple of credit card things I needed to go fix and some payments that I didn't go do from the previous week. They weren't late. They were still on time. So don't even look at me like that. I'm very avid about paying my stuff on time. But I need to go tackle that because I said I was going to tackle it last week and I didn't. So that was the first thing on my list. Second thing on that list was finish getting things boxed up to move, because I was literally moving the end of that week. So make sure that was done, because I wasn't trying to box up anything and figure out anything for my move the day of the move. I was moving on the 20th. The 19th was that Friday. That was some leftover pieces from last week. Moving into things for this week. So step 2, evaluate what you know for certain you need to do this week. These can be spitball ideas, they can be very large, or you can have them broken down into the fine-tuned grain pieces of the week. Is anything in that week time sensitive? Think about that and make sure you jot that down with what day it is time sensitive for. If you're like myself and you procrastinate, maybe give yourself a couple of days in advance of said time sensitive piece so that you are doing things on time and you're not missing a deadline. So moving to the things that I had to do this week, in particular, I needed to go and finish up that mental health video for YouTube by Monday. I put Monday because I really wanted to finish it on Wednesday. It was a thought process that I need to hit it in advance because I'll procrastinate, and next thing you know, it's midnight and I'm trying to finish a video that could have been finished well in advance. The next piece was clean up the script that I was submitting for one of the fellowships that I was trying to get into. I needed to clean up some bits and pieces of it. I know you'll probably see on this notebook that a lot of things are in blue. It's redacted because I don't want to jinx myself in getting into it, or it's a little bit personal information that I ain't trying to share with YouTube, at least not right now. So yeah, there's a couple of redacted pieces in this particular plan session. So just to give you fair warning. Yeah, I needed to finish up the script for that. I needed to finish up the essay that was associated with the fellowship application. And yeah, that was my main bullet point for the week. It was due it was due the 15th of that month. Got it done at the last minute because I procrastinate, but it still got done. So is that bad? I don't think so. Next, it was taking time for the therapy session that I had that week because that was going to be my first therapy session with a new therapist, even though I've changed therapists again since then. But I started therapy then. That was that first week. I needed to plan out my vacation for my birthday. Note, you see that wasn't crossed out. Why? I didn't plan out the vacation. I suck at planning vacations for myself, hence why it's on the board now as an action item for things to do. I still need to do that vacation because I didn't do the vacation right for my birthday. Didn't plan it. It was an action item that I never finished. The next item was check in with the new apartment complex that I was moving into to see if all of the needs were met for the checklist items. Did that, boom, got that done fast. It was a quick action item that I probably did well before I even wrote it on the paper, but it was just to make sure that I made sure that I did it. The last thing on that list of things that had a time-sensitive piece to it was I needed to go and unsubscribe from the session that I was using for studying. I was using a service for studying for my licensure exam. It ran out on the 21st, and if you don't cancel it in the time frame, it was another $600 charge that I wasn't trying to pay for. So yeah, had to cancel that ASAP. And I think the last couple things on here were more so less time sensitive, but I gave myself some time sensitivity associated with it. So I need to start doing all the address changing for my apartment because if I don't do it, I will forget about it. I have what I call undiagnosed ADHD, and I will forget something, which is why we ended up with a planner in the first place. So that needed to get done because it was imperative, and I was going to keep putting it off, and I was going to forget about it. Next bullet point was research how to get some imported coffee and start the taste testing process. This was the precursor to what ended up being the Coffee Man Ran World Tour, which started last week. Next episode coming Sunday. So, matter of fact, if you haven't checked out that video, I'm going to go ahead and link it in here somewhere. Go ahead and click that video and give it a shot. You're missing out. Then I set a new goal for myself, which was start saving money on this journey to getting $5,000 saved every 4 to 6 months. So I bought this little box. It's like a little savings account box, and you get to check off every time you put money into the box so that you can improve your savings account. So that's what I did. Plugged all the money in the box. I've been trying to do it for the last, where are we at now? I think we're on week 5 or 6. I've been doing pretty good. I could do better. I haven't opened the box to try to use any of the money in it. That's a kicker too. It has an easy way to open the box. I wish it wasn't, but I've been more diligent about putting the money in and forget about it. Pay my rent in a new spot because I need to go ahead and pay that money off. Boom. And I needed to send this email off that I had literally procrastinated sending for like 8 weeks straight. I finally sent it. It took me a long time to actually get that email out. It was important because it was towards a project that I was supposed to start working on back in May. It didn't even start until August, but procrastination is a pain, and I am guilty of being a heavy procrastinator. And then the last thing on that list was I needed some new topics for Friday to try to start doing more coffee content, and I was sucking at pulling the topics in, so I made it a reminder piece. And I had to contact another guy about another project. So yeah, that's how I planned out my week. Planned out everything that I felt like I needed to do during the week and pulled in any tasks that rolled over from the previous week. And you just plot it out. So that is how I plan out my week and how I plan out my month/quarter. Next week, we will move into actually planning out the day on a day-by-day basis. That's when you get a little more granular and you get real detailed, figure out what you need to do, and do something that I refer to as a daily highlight. Regardless of how the day goes, because your day shifts every couple of hours with work, life situations, things happen. So I make a daily highlight for regardless of whatever occurs in a day, this one thing has to get done. And it will make your life a lot easier. But we'll discuss that going into next. So, as a wrap up, tip number one, know the type of person that you are and how your planning style is. Do you like big picture? Do you like granular details? Figure that part out because that is important to what your planning life will look like. Tip number two, determine if writing your tips by hand makes more sense or if you are a digitized type of person where you need to have it in an electronic format. If that works better for you, there are several different apps that you can go into to try to plan out your week or plan out your month. And I can give you a list of them here. They'll be listed right here. If you want me to go into further detail about any of those apps, you have Sunsama, Notion, Obsidian, Nuclino, Joplin, and even if you just want to use your general Microsoft apps like OneNote and something that I just learned about called Loop. There's a ton of apps that'll help you with planning out your week in digital format. If you want me to go into detail with these, let me know in the comment section below. I can go ahead and go into great detail about those apps. I've tried and error a good chunk of them to figure out if digitized format planning was better for me. I like doing mine by hand. To me, writing it down helps you actually memorize what you said you were going to do. It went from brain to paper. You did it. It's kind of like a commitment back to yourself. So that's why I like handwriting my planner as opposed to digitizing it. But I'm not opposed to teaching you all how to do both. So let me know in the comments. And lastly, tip number three, don't make planning a task. This is not supposed to be extra work for you. It's supposed to help alleviate any stress that you have on your brain in terms of you doing your task for per week, per month. Think about this as a self-care task in itself too. You are getting things off your mind so you have more room to think about the things that are more important to you. It shouldn't be a task. It isn't a task. Fair? True? We're on this planning journey because we want to, not because we have to. And when you make it a job, you lose the importance of the whole concept of why you started planning in the first place. It's not a task. It's not a task. So, yeah. This again is but not before my coffee. So, let's get into what we made today. I mixed star anise in the coffee. Is that something that interests you? Let's go to the kitchen. All right. So, we have a new latte idea. I've had this syrup for a while, and I really didn't know how I wanted to put it together in a drink. So, I think I figured out what I'm going to do. So, today, we have a star anise iced latte. Y'all ready? Let's go. All right. And here is our star anise latte. Boom. Let's give it a taste test. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. For those of you who don't know what star anise tastes like, it's like a cinnamon, peppermint, and a couple other spices had a baby. But to like help blend it out, the star anise syrup itself is very, very strong. I tried to make a latte the first time with it by itself, and I almost choked. It was like a punch in the throat of that pepperminty flavor that star anise tends to give you. So I ended up pouring less of it and using the three other flavors of the honey, the cinnamon, and the ginger to blend out the flavor palette. So now it tastes more like the actual Star Anise tea. Good selection. Good choice. Note, you can see that's a bigger glass than what we had earlier in the video. This is latte number 2. Don't mind me. But yeah, this will conclude today's episode of But Not Before My Coffee. If you like this video, share it with your friends that love coffee. And in this case, again, organizational content, because we are building here. Next week, we will talk about your day-to-day breakdown and the daily highlight. So come back next week. Stay tuned for your next installment of But Not Before My Coffee. And as always, go be great and peace and blessings.